Hello and welcome to Lunch Break, brought to you by Lissio's Bakery. It all starts with the bread. I'm your host, Rhea Hughes. I'm happy to be joined again, well, I don't know how happy he is, angry Greg Ryan, to discuss the debacle at the Link. So we've got a couple topics on our lunch menu that we're going to talk about today. Angry Greg Ryan, meet the Angry Bird. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Can you hear me now? Andy Reid said he couldn't hear what was going on at the Link. We might not believe him, and it's Twitter Tuesday, so we have a bunch of tweets that we'll get into. Let me just gauge your anger now as opposed to, I saw you right in the post game. If anybody ever, you all watch the post game with Michael Barkan on Comcast, and usually the first person up to be interviewed when they go to PJ Wheelhands is Greg. You were pretty angry on there. Has it abated?
It's not abated, no. But there's anger. There's a feeling there that we had, and they led us to believe that we had something this year, and we, for the most part, we believed it. And guess what? They just, as I said before, they ripped it from us. They just took it away from us. It's like Andy and his bunch of thieves just stole the season from us.
Did you feel even more angry that they went up 10-0 and you thought, oh, this is. They played well against the Giants. Then they come in, the Patriots come in here, and they get the 10-0 lead.
Well, we were actually up, happy that they got that lead, and then we all look around at each other like, and nobody wanted to say anything because we didn't want to jinx it.
It wasn't the fourth quarter.
We didn't want to jinx it, but, and then we saw them come right back down the field. We stopped the running game.
Yeah.
We started passing the ball again. Young's throwing leading the receivers right into traffic.
He was trying to get his receivers killed.
And if he does it again, it's he will.
Here, and you brought up a great point. We stopped the Eagles stopped the running game, and that's what was so frustrating about it. And and for those people out there, you're not going to beat Tom Brady, by running the ball. Well, look at what the Giants did. They ran 29 times against them when they beat them. But the point is it's keeping Tom Brady off the field. You know how bad this Eagles defense is, so you want to keep them off the field. And the game wasn't out of hand at that point. The Eagles were up 10-0.
Right.
There was no reason to go. There's no reason that Tom Brady and LaShawn McCoy should almost have the same amount of carries at halftime.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then we had Chad Hall on the field again. Why is the guy even on the field in place of McCoy? So, but again, that's Andy and the Brain Trust making those calls. That's the guy he wants to put in a better position, Chad Hall?
Well, that's what I fail to understand is you have, if not this year, the best running back in the NFL, top 2, top 3. I need some sort of justification that you can think of why he wouldn't use him.
Sorry, there is none.
I know, I love it. There is
none.
Well,
not a single one.
You and I can't think of one. Rachel, who's the booker for Daily News Live, she helps book with our show. Rachel Appel Vasquez is in the press box. She looks down on the sidelines and sees 2 assistant coaches going at it. Knows that the one is Marty Mornhinweg. He's got the headset on. She asks somebody and realizes the other one's Washburn. Now, at first we all assumed it was kind of maybe over play calling that Washburn was going, look, my guys are getting no time to substitute. They've gone to the no huddle. Could you mix in a couple of runs? And now what they're telling us, now the latest story out is that it was just a bump. What do you believe was going on?
Okay. You're right. If it was just a bump, but if it happens in a bar, that's a little different story, right? After you take down
it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I expect fists to be thrown.
But these are 2 coaches,
grown men
on the same team. Well, overly grown men, but on the same team. But neither one of them has anything to be, screaming at the other one about.
Exactly. Neither are covering themselves.
They're
in glory.
both pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or they're, what they're in charge of has been bad. And I've never been a Mornhinweg fan anyway. And Washburn with this wide 9 thing
has been terrible.
So neither one. They could both be very frustrated.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go take that right back to the top of the pyramid, and that's Andy.
And that doesn't happen normally on an Andy Reid team. Well, let's get to it. You are wearing your shirt, which he was wearing on the postgame show. Fire Andy. Were you? I know you were at the bar watching the game.
Right.
I was at home watching the game. I heard very clearly after the failed 4th and 1 when Vince Young threw it out of the end zone to Selleck. I heard very clearly coming through my TV, Andy sucks. That was the first chant I heard before it got to the fight. Were you guys able to hear it where you were?
We couldn't hear it in the bar, a lot of noise, but immediately within seconds we got a tweet. And suddenly I said, guys, guess what? They're calling for his job. They're calling for his head. Let's go grease the rails.
Yeah, you wanted to head down there. Well, here's the interesting thing. It is Twitter Tuesday. We're going to get to our tweets in a second. I got a tweet from someone this morning. I want to get your take on it. She's very unhappy with me in the morning show on the witch hunt that we are on for Andy Reid. Considering what has taken place this year, is any of this unfair? Is the fire Andy chance, is the calls for the you, me, media people, fans, everything like that for his head, is that any of it unfair?
I'm sorry, the guy's been here 13 seasons.
No.
Where has she been? Under a
Yeah.
rock?
Yes.
You can't, unfair?
Yeah.
We've gone well and above beyond our normal Philly tolerance. So, and this didn't just start this year, by the way. Going into last year. And how many more games are we going to lose at home?
Yeah. Well, what are they, 1-8 in their last 9 games?
This goes back to last year.
I want to, just before we get to our tweets, real quick, if Giants are in their usual swoon, can you imagine a scenario in which Tom Coughlin, who's won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years, gets fired and Andy Reid doesn't?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be?
And I don't hold Coughlin in any type of regard.
No, me either, but still. I mean,
well, hey, Jacksonville spot's open.
Yeah, well, we're going to actually get to that.
I got a credit card. I'll pay for the flight.
And here are our tweets for Twitter Tuesday. Our first one up is actually from Cullen Jenkins, who offered an apology. I just want to apologize to all you Eagles fans out there. We as players have to step it up. I'm embarrassed for today. Did spell embarrassed wrong, but do you appreciate that as a fan, that at least a player felt the need to apologize?
The guy stood up.
Yeah.
And of all the people that stood up, he's the guy that has to stand up the least and say that.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's been showing something.
He's played hard. There's nothing with him, and I appreciated that he did that. Our next one, I'm going to occupy Philly tomorrow with a giant anti-Andy Reid banner. Who's coming with me? Are you with him?
I'm not only with him. I'm going to wear one of those Guy Fawkes masks, and then if the fans can show up if they show up at the remaining 2 games, they should start wearing what they did with the Saints, the Aints. Put the bags over the head.
Oh my God!
Paint the bags
yellow.
yellow.
Greg is calling for bags on the head. And then our final one. This has to do with what you just said. Fire Andy Reid and get Jack Del Rio. Del Rio is an incredible coach with a lot of class. He just needs talent, and we have plenty. Well, I hate to break it to Kanye East, but Jack Del Rio has been fired. So that doesn't mean he's available.
We don't want it.
No, I don't want no parts of Jack Del Rio. Do you?
No, we don't need that.
No.
We need a coach that's now going to take what we have, actually get rid of the Keystone Cops routines we have in all these different positions and
hire
bring
a
it together.
defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator or somebody, a good head coach that can hire a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's. I don't give Andy Reid a third chance to hire a third defensive coordinator in 4 years. I don't leave him around to do that.
He said, there's Castillo. He's a giraffe. Go out there. Now go be a cow. He stands out there and says, he's still a giraffe, and he says, moo. That doesn't make him a giraffe. That doesn't make him a cow. So, but that's what he did. He took him out of what the hell he was good at and made him something that he is horrible at.
No, it didn't work. And I think that is the first time on Lunch Break that we're ever going to have a cow-giraffe analogy, and I love it. I want to thank Angry Greg Ryan for being my guest on Lunch Break. Coming up later on Comcast Sportsnet at 4 o'clock, Eagles Extra. We got the Orange Line at 4:30, followed by Daily News Live at 5. Wells Fargo Sports Night at 6, and tune in again at 10 o'clock for Toyota Sports Night. Thanks for joining us on Lunch Break, brought to you by Lissio's Bakery. It all starts with the bread.